Hello, this is a Disappearing Space Whale and I thought I'd try something a bit different. I thought you might like to join me on a walking tour of the quayside of the great city of Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England, possibly the greatest city in the world, and also Gateshead. We're actually stood in Gateshead now. That's the Tyne Bridge in the distance. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute, but we're currently on the south side of the Tyne, the River Tyne. And there's the Sage, the futuristic slug of the Sage Concert Hall, which has hosted many incredible acts over the years, such as Blondie, Grace Jones, Mumford and Sons, probably Ant and Dec, and the Police, or as they're now known, Sting. We're actually facing a building, but it's not actually a building. It's a ship. That's crazy, you may say. Well, that's because certain naval bases, if they're land bases, are still called HMS, still called ships, and this is HMS Calliope, which is also, as well as being a naval base, it also has Royal Marines Commando Reserve, I think. So we're on the Gateshead side. Gateshead, lovely little town in its own right. If Newcastle is Batman, then Gateshead could be said to be Robin. They've tried to rebrand the area as Newcastle Gateshead, but people in Gateshead want to say, no, we're in Gateshead. We hate Newcastle. No, we don't hate Newcastle, but the car park of the Sage up there during lockdown was used by local youths to go and do donuts in their little hatchbacks and various dodgy little car meets, but then it all got blocked off by the council, so they can't do that anymore. That building in front of us is the Baltic Arts Gallery, which has hosted such great artists as Yoko Ono and I don't know, probably Anish Kapoor, maybe, I don't know. It was an old flour mill, I think, and now it's a free art gallery where you can go and look at bizarre modern art that nobody really likes. Now, I'm only joking, of course. We all love a bit of modern art, don't we? Here we've got the Millennium Bridge, the newest of Newcastle's several bridges, and there's HMS Calliope, some kind of thing for sticking, I guess, flags on and that. You can hear their local Newcastle people enjoying themselves, even though it's Monday night. So it's very much a party city. The lights on this can be altered to reflect certain things. I think there was an autism event where they turned it blue or purple or something, some particular colour which had some kind of significance, but I can't remember what it was. Rainbows for LGBT awareness. But this whole bridge, it's supposed to wink, so you can see those bits there actually tilts. The whole thing goes like that, and then this whole thing raises up. These things shut so they don't allow pedestrians on. Because if you did, you'd end up having a very bad time, and you might end up in the Tyne. So it's a very still Tyne this evening, and the tide is very low. Hope I don't drop my phone in the Tyne, because then I wouldn't be able to upload this to YouTube's. So we're now crossing the Tyne from Gateshead to Newcastle. Newcastle. The Tyne Bridge up there's currently got see if I can zoom. Yes, I can. Whoa! It's got lights. Great North Run. This weekend is the Great North Run, which is one of the world's most famous half marathons. The route this year has changed because of the COVID. It's some kind of big loop, apparently. And of course, during the 2012 Olympics, they actually put rings on the Tyne Bridge, like the Olympic rings were up there. And Christian Hardman, Bear Grylls, rappelled from the bridge, or he did like a zip wire from the bridge there all the way down to HMS Calliope. He went on a rope. I saw him do that, so it was quite good, I suppose. Well done to him. He's the chief scout. See over there, that's a monument to, I don't know, the planet Earth or solar system. I think it's something to do with the maritime heritage of the area. I sometimes watch that Gimbal Walk channel on YouTube. That's quite good. Although he thinks everything's brilliant, no matter which town he goes to, even Redcar, he thinks it's brilliant. And he's got a gimbal, whereas I'm holding a Motorola G50. So if you've been watching, you probably might feel sick now. Yeah, so a little bit about Newcastle upon Tyne. Like a lot of places in Britain, there's a Roman presence. Oh, and I'll just mention these little things in the floor. It's actually got Newcastle's got a walk of fame, much like the one in Los Angeles, except it's not covered with homeless people sleeping on it, thank heavens. So there's Bobby Robson, the famous footballer and football manager of Newcastle. There's a statue of him at Newcastle United Football Stadium. And here we have a monument to slavery. Well, I presume against slavery, but it's a slave. There he is. Lighting's not very good. Reflecting terrible links to slavery. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yeah, so Newcastle. So there's been Roman presence here, and where the swing bridge is, which is the little bridge just beyond the Tyne Bridge, there was a Roman bridge, and so the area was called Pons Aelius. And stone bridges, wood bridges, and then eventually it became known as Monkchester. Newcastle is also known as Monkchester because monks like to store their wardrobes here, so they kept like big chests hidden in the monastery a bit further upriver. So that's why it's called Monkchester. And then it became Newcastle. It became Newcastle after the Norman Conquest. William Conqueror conquered England, divided it up amongst his loyal servants, and he gave, it's like a lighthouse thing, he gave Newcastle to his friend, the Duke of Geordie. And the Duke of Geordie's favourite snack was the stotty, which is a large sandwich like flatbread, because he'd be busy playing cards, he didn't want to get from the card table, so he asked his cook to make him something quick, and his cook made him a flatbread stotty. And so to this day, all Newcastle people eat a stotty every day, It is actually law to do that. I mean, it doesn't get enforced much, but I mean, there's a medieval law saying that all Newcastle people must eat stotty every day, under penalty of having 3 strokes with a birch on their buttocks. Now, this is some kind of fancy poncy thing that's just been added. I'm trying to see what they've done with the monument. There's a monument to the religious leader Wesley. There it is, you can just see it. So, John Wesley, who was the creator of Methodism, if that's the right word, the founder of Methodism, that's a monument to him, because he used to preach around here. He didn't preach here, apparently preached just up the hill. Big crowds go around preaching, telling about the word of the method, and that was very popular. Beyond there, if you get in trouble, there's the Crown Court. It's not doing very well for focus, this, is it? I do apologise, but you know, what do you expect? I'm just some idiot on YouTube. Yeah, so Newcastle culture, it's very much a party city. Newcastle brown ale is the most popular drink. It was brewed here until very recently, and it's now brewed in Uruguay. It's no longer brewed in Newcastle, very controversial, but it's brewed in Uruguay. Tastes the same. It's very popular with trendy young Americans as well. It's done quite well for itself. So now we're looking at the alien slug-like sage across the water there. And there's the Winky Millennium Bridge. There's not many people out, but it is a Monday night. Come Thursday, this place will be rammed. Since COVID happened, people are just going mental. I went to the town centre the first weekend after Freedom Day in the UK, as it was called, which was June 19th, I think. And the city centre looked like a bomb had hit it. It looked absolutely crazy. There was rubbish and crap everywhere because, you know, everyone just went mad, going out partying. It was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, but it's very much become a party city now. Here's some cute little fishing boats. I think they're usually up at St James's Wharf, but they come along here. Sometimes you get rich people who, bizarrely, have decided to take their small to medium-sized motor yachts to Newcastle, of all places, and so they're moored up here. These aren't them, these are actually old traditional fishing cobbles, whatever it's called. And here you can see one of our life rings has been taken out and tossed in the river, or probably worn as some kind of hat by a drunk chav, maybe. And there's an Ant and Dec. If you're not British, you won't know who Ant and Dec are. They're probably the British equivalent of Key and Peele. Yeah, probably the British equivalent of Key and Peele. So, we've got a plaque over there. That's good for a little bit of local history, isn't it? Let's go and have a look at that if I don't get knocked down. Let's hope it's an interesting one. The Custom House. Built in 1766 to replace the old Custom House at Sandhill. Duties from ships using the port of Newcastle were collected. No, that's not very interesting. So, that's the Tyne Bridge. It was constructed, was it 1902? Very early part of the 20th century. It was owned by the king at the time, who was called King Geordie VI. Very dangerous work constructing it. The men who constructed it were called monkey men. They didn't have any harnesses, protective headgear, naught like that. They just had to climb up in a flat cap and stout trousers. But unbelievably, only one died. He fell into the river and died. That's All Saints Church. Was empty for many years. It's currently being used by some, I think, Presbyterians. It's like a round, it's got a round shape inside, which is quite unusual. A little red bridge there, that's where all the old bridges in Newcastle used to be, the Roman one. There was also to think about the 18th century. There was stone bridge with lots of shops, medieval, also crazy Harry Potter-esque medieval buildings. But then William Armstrong came along. William Armstrong, the genius weapons maker, probably responsible indirectly for the deaths of a lot of people, but he was a lawyer who liked engineering more than doing law. Who can blame him? And he first got into making hydraulic cranes and then weapons and then all kinds of things. But he helped create the swing bridge, and that swing bridge, we're going to walk over it in a bit, it actually tilts, it goes like that, it goes and then the ships can go past. So we're underneath the Tyne Bridge now, and this becomes home for a lot of seabirds called kittiwakes, who go like kia 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 kia. Unfortunately, their poo, as you can see there, has acidic properties, and it's probably it's doing damage to the bridge. They're trying to create a little habitat for them further down the river. Some of them decided to live there, but a lot of them would rather live in the city. They prefer city centre living. Location, and who doesn't want to do that rather than there's a Hilton. It's called the Hilton, I think, Newcastle Gateshead, but really it's the Hilton Gateshead, isn't it? Because it's on the Gateshead side. Why wouldn't it be called anything else? The bridge up there is called the High Level Bridge, and it has vehicles and pedestrians go in the middle bit, and trains go on the top. There's St Mary's Church. It's not due to the stunning lack of faith among the English people. It's no longer used as a religious building anymore. It's used as a heritage centre. It's got a little graveyard, and there's stones there that were blasted in the Great Fire of Newcastle. So along Gateshead side, lots of industrial things, chemical works, and one of the chemical works exploded, and there's chunks of stuff flying everywhere, and it ignited over on the Newcastle side, and apparently onlookers actually went up to the high level bridge and were stood there watching it all as Newcastle and Gateshead burned. So that was horrific entertainment for that particular evening. In Newcastle's just opened up a Hard Rock Cafe. Is that good? I don't know. I've only ever been to one in London once, because I won a competition to be among the first British people to watch Star Trek Enterprise. So I was invited to the Hard Rock Cafe in London to see that. And what a disappointment that turned out to be. It's been a long road getting yes. Yeah, so there's Hard Rock Cafe. I always think of Blackpool rock. I know it means guitars and that, but I always think of, the traditional British candy of the rock, the tuber rock, sort of the sweet candy rock when I think of hard rock. Yeah, I'll be quiet now. Through there's quite an old building. It's Bessie Surtees' house. A woman who was in love with the Lord Mayor of Newcastle and wasn't allowed to marry him, jumped out the window late one night and buggered off with him. So that's quite romantic. To see the blade races. Fog on the Tyne is all mine, all mine. Fog on the Tyne is all mine. Lots of trendy restaurants these days. How well they're coping with COVID, I don't know. So, passing over the Swingers Bridge. So named because William Armstrong, Lord Baron Armstrong, he used to like to swing. He'd engage in various wife swapping activity, sex wife swap activities, and he enjoyed that so much he named his bridge after it, the Swinging Bridge. Long before the swinging 60s, swinging 1860s. You can see that's where the bridge, it'll curve around like that. I went in the control roomy bit for part of the heritage tours, and a lot of beautiful steampunk-esque pipework and bits that, if they ever break, can never be replaced. So I don't know what they would do if a piece broke that they needed. Over on the Gateshead side, shipping containers where you can buy overpriced food and drink. It's very trendy. If you like that sort of thing, that's fine. Here we've got a discarded bag of Monster Munch. Monster Munch was actually invented in Newcastle when it was called Stotty Munch, and it was originally Stotty flavoured. The most famous maker of Stotties is Greggs, which is another company founded in Newcastle. And at one time there were actually two branches of Greggs on Clayton Street in the city centre that were literally within 60 feet of each other. Two branches of Greggs, that's how popular Greggs is. And Greggs sells over 1 million Stotties a day to the people of Newcastle. This building here was like customs house, river. Well, no, it wasn't the customs house. It was like the river patrol area, river patrol man's house. There's a little plaque. It's now a restaurant. What a surprise. River Police Station, yes it was. Encouraged by local ship owners, the Admiralty formed the first River Police, 4th of August 1845, 21 men and 6 rowing boats and a cat. This station was built in 1910. Fenwick and Watson were the architects. Oh right, Fenwick and Watson, yeah, brilliant. Yeah, so up there is the Hilton. Paris Hilton used to stay there every week. There's a guy who's driving like an absolute nutcase, so that's exciting. Yeah, Paris Hilton used to come here. Newcastle was her favourite English city. Although she did also have a very strong fondness for Sunderland. Because obviously it's her family's hotel, so she got free. I don't think she got to stay there free, but I think she got like 90% discount. We're about to come to our end of the tour. I hope you enjoyed it. Someone who's very famous who lived around here is Daniel Defoe, the famous writer. Robinson Crusoe, Moll Flanders, and he lived quite close to. He lived in Gateshead for about 4 years, and after he lived in Gateshead, apparently he was desperate to maroon himself on a desert island. But instead he wrote Robinson Crusoe because it's the next best thing. This tower here was used as a lift inside, or it did, moving the goods up and down. And a couple of years ago, New Year's Eve, the police had to raid it because there was an illegal rave going on inside that tower. So they had to boot them out. I mean, I guess it seems pretty cool, like, oh, let's go have a rave in the old lift shaft. Oh.